My friend dyed her hair and I kicked her out of my bridal party. Am I a bridezilla? Hey everybody, welcome back. This is from the Charlotte Dobre YouTube subreddit. So all names are fake, but sound similar to the real ones for privacy. Ooh, tea. I, 29 female, am getting married this December. It's a Christmas-themed winter wedding, something I've been planning since 2021. My fiance and I wanted to wait and save up so that we could pay for the entire wedding ourselves. No parents, no loans, no strings attached. That's nice. It's been our dream to have a winter wonderland wedding that's fully ours, and we've been working and budgeting for years to make it happen. No wonder you've been planning for so long. Because I know the whole bridezilla stereotype is a thing, I've tried my absolute hardest to be accommodating and inclusive with my bridal party and wedding planning. For example, one of my bridesmaids, Larissa, is pregnant. She'll be showing by the time of the wedding, and I told her to absolutely get a dress that highlights her bump if she wants to. No shame, no covering up, and I want her to feel beautiful. Another bridesmaid, Mara, has tattoos that she loves. Since it's a Christmas wedding, I asked her dress not be too revealing because of the winter theme, but she's totally welcome to show off her ink. I want everyone to feel like themselves. My friend Zelda Samoyed, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's a dog. Citrus is actually in the wedding. He's gonna be the ring bearer with my nephew. The plan is my nephew will ride in a little sled that Citrus pulls. Then once they reach us, my nephew will hop off, hand the ring box to Citrus, and Citrus will deliver it to us. It's cute, it's fun. Oh my God, Citrus looks like Balto. So I really have gone out of my way to make this wedding inclusive and magical for everyone, not just me. I'm finally back from my wedding, and I will just say that I felt that I was so worried about being a bridezilla that I sometimes let things slide that I shouldn't have. Like, listen, I'm happy that I moved the way I did because I was gracious and whatever, but there were certain things that happened that I didn't address that were very disappointing and kind of like, I don't want to say ruined moments, but like definitely took away from like the happiness that you're supposed to feel, because I didn't want to be labeled as a bridezilla. Like, I didn't want anyone to think I was like, but then at the same time, if someone is outright disrespecting you, I feel like as a bride, you actually do have a right to put your foot down. So here's the issue. One of my closest friends, Shaylish, just dyed her hair this bright neon electric green. Oh, think highlighter green, not emerald or sage or anything remotely muted. She's also one of my bridesmaids. My color palette for the bridal party is soft, pastel tones, and winter shades. Her hair clashes so badly with literally everything. Interesting, because like we have done stories where, you know, people had like bright red hair, pink hair, and brides are telling bridesmaids not to have that hair color. So I'm a little torn about this one, but I also find it weird that she dyed her hair like this right before your wedding. Does she plan on having this hair at your wedding? I'm trying to be like diplomatic here. At the same time, I don't want to be a hypocrite and say like brides should, you know, accept their friends as they are, et cetera, while at the same time having an issue with someone who's dyed their hair a very bright color. When I saw it, I gently asked her,
"Hey, is there any chance you'd be open to wearing a wig of your natural color for the wedding?"
I explained I have no issue with green hair if it's a shade that blends with the theme. Emerald, sage, matcha, even forest green would have been fine. But this bright neon color just completely takes away from the look we've all been building. She snapped back with,
"Why? Are you scared of the color green or something?"
I said,
No, it really clashes.
and I begged her to please consider that. This is tough. I don't think the bride is scared of the color green. I think she would have been fine with a shade of green. In all honesty, kind of like pulling focus. She flat out said no. I told her, regretfully, that I had to have her step down as a bridesmaid. She's still invited to the wedding, but she won't be standing up with us. When I told her this, she blew up. She said I'm a bridezilla, a B word, and that my fiance's
Lucky he's marrying me before he finds someone better.
and that I'm shallow for caring about a stupid hair color. I mean, listen, I do kind of get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I also sort of feel like, I don't know, I feel like I get both sides here, you know? I do understand that you've been planning this for a really long time, and it is a very bright color. I'm torn. I really am. I feel like I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Now, here's the thing that makes me feel bad. She and I have been friends for years. We always joked and dreamed about being in each other's weddings as bridesmaids. She knew about my request to refrain from dyeing hair neon bright colors while being a bridesmaid. Okay, so you told her that. Okay, so that changes things, I feel like. And she went ahead and did it anyway? It is something I told all my bridal party early on when we got engaged. I even said that if they wanted to dye it anyway, all I asked is that they wear a wig for the day so they could still have fun hair without it clashing. Everyone else was fine with this. But now, I can't shake the guilt. On one hand, I want my wedding party to look cohesive because this is something I've dreamed of and paid for with my fiance since 2021. On the other hand, this is my friend of many years and I don't want to be the bride that throws away a friendship over a color palette. I sort of feel like both of you are kind of like, she doesn't want to dye her hair or compromise it, and you also don't want to compromise. Someone has to compromise. So I'm at Bridezilla for stepping her down as a bridesmaid over her neon green hair. Should I just suck it up and let her stand with me, clashing or not? Because at the end of the day, it is just hair. This is tough. Let's say you had bridesmaids and one of them just decided to wear a neon green dress, like something that you did not plan, that you didn't want. There's a reason why bridesmaids wear dresses that all look the same, are in the realm of like something similar. And it's because they want to look cohesive with everything else. To some degree, I get that like you should just want your friend to be there at the end of the day, but I do find it weird that she kind of went against your wishes as well. I do find it weird that she knew about your wishes for the wedding that you've been planning for a very long time, and she decided literally dye her hair like the most focus pulling, non-matchy color possible. I think a compromise has to be here, and it's like, okay, maybe we could go with like a dark green or a sage green or something. Or maybe it could fade a little bit, you know? I don't know. Am I wrong? I feel like this is one scenario in which like maybe the bridesmaid with the neon green hair could budge a little bit. This is like the people pleaser bride in me talking. I hate to say it, but sometimes the Bridezilla is actually the jealous bridesmaid. And she called you a biatch. Sometimes at our highest level of happiness is when the true colors come out. Pun not intentional. This is another thing that I've noticed. Obviously having my own weddings, honestly, although they're beautiful, they bring out the best and they bring out the worst. And I find it odd that she chose to dye her hair a color that was so out there right before your wedding. Isn't that weird? I do think it's weird.
This is weird.
And I think it's weird that she took your request and immediately got defensive and started calling you names. Like, I don't like that. The comment about your fiance made my ears perk up of all the things to say. Good point. I kind of glossed over that, but like, ooh, lucky he's marrying me before he finds someone better. Like who? Like you? I honestly think that like after what she said at this point, like there's not really a lot of compromises to be made. It's kind of mean. You're not a bridezilla. You put the rules in place way before. She's known about this 4 years ago. She could wear a wig. Don't just drop her as a bridesmaid, drop her as a friend. She ignored your request, which is also kind of a boundary. It's not like, you know, you're being this bride that's like, I only want natural colors. Like you're fine with green hair as long as it matches. I feel like this is like an opportunity to like be fun, but also be yourself, you know? So I think in this case, normally I'm of the opinion, you know, a bride that kind of wants everybody to look like models. Like this is not a casting thing. Like we're not doing a commercial here, but you're fine with a funky hair color. You're just kind of put off by the neon green because it doesn't match your theme. I get where you're coming from. I do. It's strange that the bridesmaid decided to dye her hair the only color Opie wasn't cool with. It's literally the only one. Especially since it sounds like OP told the bridesmaids 4 years ago, why do this now? OP was still okay with her having the neon hair. She just asked her to wear a wig for photos. The friend is doing everything to not compromise, even a little. Sounds like she dyed it intentionally, not a friend. Honestly, I think I kind of agree with the comments. So, are you a bridezilla? Nah. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to invite my best friend and his wife to my wedding after they hid theirs from me? My childhood best friend is more like a brother. He is like my family and has always been a constant in my life. Over the years, he's had several relationships and I was always there for him without judgment. In December of 2023, a close friend of mine from another country came to visit India. I introduced her to him casually. They hooked up soon after. And from what I was told, it was nothing serious. They became serious. They got engaged secretly and eventually married in Bali last fall. I wasn't aware about it. In fact, no one from his family was even there. I found out because his mom, who was in shock, called me crying. She said her son had told them he was going on vacation and then suddenly he was married. She even asked me to be there while confronting him, but I was too stunned and emotionally drained to get involved. Meanwhile, I had always been open with them, sharing details of my own life, relationships, and never once suspected they were hiding such a huge milestone. After their wedding, they started contacting me with their marital problems, hoping I could play mediator. Ooh, okay. So like, why is it that they're only contacting you when they need something from you? I said it, I'm not apologizing. I tried twice. I also told them I was hurt that they kept everything from me. They apologized and said they wanted to keep things private, even though everyone from her side of the family was there. Oh, she doesn't like you. Let me think here. So she only invited her side of the family, not his side of the family. And this person is also your friend?
A close friend of yours from another country married your other childhood best friend, and nobody told you?
Oh, hell no. Hell no. They thanked me for introducing them. Apparently her family feels self-conscious around people from my country, so they decided not to invite anyone. I accepted their apology, but emotionally, something had shifted. On my 29th birthday, they both forgot to wish me. Not that I was expecting much. But what really hit me was they called me on that very day to ask for help resolving an argument. Oh, absolutely not. No. I swear, I'm so petty. Like, if you have not wished me a happy birthday, if you have not congratulated me on my wedding, congratulated me on my engagement, and then somehow reach out to me needing something, I'm petty like that. I'm sorry. I really, really am. I don't care. I don't. So the argument was about food. Then I realized how little they respected my time or maybe even me. I told them kindly but firmly that I have my own life and I don't want to be bothered with their trivial issues. After that, we didn't speak until 3 days ago when they both called crying, said they realized how selfish they'd been and how much they'd missed me. They asked if we could reconnect when they're in India next. I told them I was busy and left it at that. Now here's the thing. I'm planning my wedding. Part of me feels no desire to tell them at all. Not out of spite, but because I finally understand the value of emotional boundaries. They made a deliberate choice to exclude me from the most important moment in their lives. Why should I feel guilty about doing the same? Still, I'm human and there's a little guilt creeping in. They cried, they apologized. I'm sorry, I'm really jaded, but like, was that apology because they needed something? Am I the a-hole for not wanting to tell them about my wedding, or is it just me finally choosing myself after years of one-sided loyalty? When it comes to wedding invites, you're gonna offend people. Like, you just are. There isn't enough space for everyone, and I understand that he's your childhood best friend, but when you're planning a wedding, it's interesting how you start to like keep tabs of like who you're actually speaking to, who's been supportive of you and your marriage, and who hasn't. And when deciding who's gonna come to your wedding, you wanna be surrounded by people who love your love you, and want nothing but the best for you. To me, it seems like this is a pity invite. I think I feel like you're right either way, for wanting to include them or for wanting to not include them. The choice is yours. I know you feel like a butthead, but I would also feel some type of way about this. It's kind of why I had a destination wedding, to kind of weed out the people that like I didn't want there. Because destination weddings, unfortunately, not everybody can make it work. So you'll lose people that you really genuinely want to be there too. But at the same time, you will lose people that you invite to be polite, but they make the decision for you because they know that they're not willing to spend the money or the time to celebrate you. I will just tell you that for future brides, it's a hack that I loved. It worked out perfectly. I don't think that you're the a-hole. I think that you're right either way, if you choose to invite them or you don't. But it's clear that you do feel some type of way about this and it's upset you. You would be giving them grace that they don't really deserve. You don't have to be the bigger person. You really don't. Especially on a day that is so important to you. Not the a-hole. I often see people saying be the bigger person, but why? What does that accomplish? The person who behaved badly, selfishly, arrogantly, thoughtlessly, or whatever has no consequence and never learns from their mistakes. Meanwhile, the wrong person still feels like hell because because nothing was ever resolved. It's true, there's no consequences. So you're being the bigger person, you're letting them get away with it. In order for people to understand that what they do is wrong, there has to be consequences for their actions. And yes, it is a once in a lifetime event, but they also chose to not invite you to their once in a lifetime events. Get married with the people who genuinely love and respect you. If the question of why you didn't invite your friend and his wife comes up, just say, we didn't think you wanted to attend since you assumed we didn't want to attend yours. Or just give them a hairy eyeball. That generally works. Not the hairy eyeball. Agreed. It's the nuances and the emotions. Sometimes I feel guilty about my decision to not invite them, and sometimes I feel angry. It's because you are a better person than them. Like the audacity of them to not include you in their wedding and then to dump all their stupid marital problems on you. Like, no. I'm strongly leaning toward not inviting them. Even though a part of me still wants to call them, I've written a note to myself as a reminder. It's okay to have boundaries with people who were once close to you if they no longer show you respect. Just because you've known someone all your life, that doesn't mean that they need to continue being in your life. You know? I think a lot of us mistake like long friendships for good friendships. In all honesty, a lot of the friends that I've had the longest were friends long enough for us to fall out, because a lot of the times the people you've known the longest, I feel like you sort of feel like you can test that friendship in many ways. Disappoint them because they'll always be around. I think that you need to put your foot down here because they're clearly pushing that boundary of like respect a little too far in one direction. Her family feels conscious around people from my country. Yeah, that's called racism. Yeah, I mean, is that what that means? Because I read that and I was like, that's weird. But like, yeah, fair. That's also a very good reason to not invite someone to your wedding.
Oh, I thought that you felt weird about people from my country. Didn't think you'd want to come.
I don't think that they're entirely wrong. What does it mean to be conscious about people from my country? Like, what does that mean? If not, I don't want to be around people from that country. This person writing is very clearly writing as a second language, but I think that's pretty clear. Just saying. So, am I the a-hole for not wanting to invite my best friend and his wife to my wedding after they hid theirs from me? Absolutely not. Come on now. I can't afford my friend's destination wedding, and she is not taking it well. What else can I say to her so she doesn't destroy our friendship? This is loaded, okay? Because as I said, sometimes when you have a destination wedding, you lose people that you really want to come. But I also would like to note, we also ensured that people that we really wanted at our destination wedding who couldn't afford it were able to come. Just saying. Not everyone can afford to do that, but I'm also saying that like if you can afford to have a destination wedding, like you have to be willing to make some compromises for people you love. If it's that important to her, I'm just saying. I told my friend I cannot be her bridesmaid anymore because I can't afford her wedding package. It's just under $3,000 per person and I have a family of 4. I can't afford just for myself to go. And even if I did, it's a week before Christmas and my husband would have to take the work off. So in the end, we decided I just can't go. I told her gently and I made sure she felt the love, but a few weeks later, she lost it when I said I was going to Comic-Con. She said she's hurt that I'm not prioritizing her wedding and not saving money instead of blowing money on mini family vacations. She told me how I should be handling my finances if I'm in a financial pickle and how you should be saving because that's how she was able to attend her sister's wedding. After a lot of back and forth, me being very understanding, sharing way too much about my finances and telling her I would go in a heartbeat if I could make it work, she completely ignored everything I said and is taking it very personally. And basically told me not to come, even if I somehow made it financially work, it wouldn't feel genuine. I feel her guilt tripping isn't genuine, and she just doesn't like that her ratio from groomsman to bridesmaid isn't even. It looks like her fiance's friends care more for him than her friends. Oh, interesting. Yeah, it's interesting that she was fine with it at first, and then a few weeks later, all of a sudden something changed. My husband privately texted her that it is about finances and I'm defeated that I can't see her get married. She was so cold to him and it's so unlike her. She talks and thinks like a therapist. I'm shocked this is her reaction. I want to scream at her. She shouldn't have picked a destination wedding if she needed everyone there. This is a tough one because I genuinely feel like if she really wanted you there, she'd find a way to make it work. It's not her fault that she wanted to choose a destination wedding. She has a right to do that. It is her choice. I wanted one really badly and I did it and I'm happy that I did it. It was magical. It was literally the best day of my life. It was amazing. And you're getting to celebrate with all your friends and family in like your favorite place. The emotions are heightened and it's just wonderful. Like 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend. But yeah, like I am considerate of the fact that like it was shitty that some people couldn't come. Like some really, really good friends of ours couldn't come. And it was unfortunate. You know, there were certain people that we really kind of had to like help out in order for them to be there. I know that my family helped out members of my family, and I know that Mike's family helped out members of his family attend the wedding. It was important. So I don't know. I just genuinely think that something else happened. Maybe it is this whole thing about her not wanting less friends than her husband. I feel like that's kind of fair. Or maybe something else happened. I don't know. It's not her fault that she wanted a destination wedding, and it's not your fault that you can't go. Similarly, I'm assuming that a mini vacation for your family is probably not going to be as expensive as going to this destination wedding. So to compare the two isn't really fair. She's basically saying me not putting my life on hold with my family to be able to afford her wedding is showing how much our relationship means. How do I gently but firmly word it to her she doesn't completely throw away 15 years of friendship? Okay, important things to note. I forgot to mention, I threw her an engagement party because I was scared of not being able to go to the wedding. So I made sure I did other bridesmaid duties to make her feel special and loved. I made sure to be at every event to celebrate her, even when her own sister didn't. Oh, but not the $1,200 bachelorette weekend. She half-assed an apology this morning, basically saying, I'm sorry, you're poor in a condescending way, even though ironically, this is the richest we've ever been and still hovering above living in the red every month. Okay, I'm glad she somewhat apologized. You know, coming from a bride, it is disappointing to find out that people can't come to your wedding. But when you make plans for a destination wedding, you gotta be okay with it. You know, it might sting at first, you might be upset, and like, you'll get over it. You will. Yeah, maybe it's coming from a place of like, oh God, I have no friends, like nobody cares about me, nobody wants to like be there for me, you know, this like fear that she has. I don't know. I know for me, when people cancel on like big life events, like right before, there's this thing in my head that when I was a kid, nobody showed up to my birthday party, and like that still echoes. And so I get kind of upset because it's like that past me. But just because I have trauma associated with people not showing up for me does not mean I have a right to treat people badly because of that, right? I'm entitled to be upset, and you're entitled to be upset. You're entitled to your feelings, but what you do with those feelings is what makes you an asshole or not. A lot of people in the comments are saying, honestly, it's not worth salvaging. OP said she's been an A+ friend up until now. I'm so shocked. I think that things are going to be different now, but it is her wedding. And, you know, I feel like you have tried to make up for the fact that you can't be there. Just reiterate to her, you know, if you want to keep the friendship, that you love her a lot and you really wish that you could be there for her. And if there's any way that you can make it up to her, like in addition to throwing her an engagement party, you don't want the friendship to go away. At the end of the day, OP has to decide if this friendship is worth saving. Even people in the comments are saying like, you need to really like evaluate this friendship and decide whether this has been a one-sided friendship or not. If there have been things that you've let slide in the past, like literally make a list. Think of like pros and cons, right? Times where she was literally your saving grace, and times where you kind of side-eyed, and really tally that shit up. If she's worth saving, if the positive outweighs the negative, then for sure try. Weddings really do bring out the worst in people, unfortunately. There's just so much expectation and every emotion is so heightened. Yeah, she made a lot of choices. Also, having it right before Christmas is, I wouldn't be actually surprised if a lot of people can't come because of that. It's already a very expensive time of year for people. Like Christmas is very expensive, and like a lot of people can't even afford gifts, let alone attending a $3,000 per person destination wedding. I know that when we picked a destination wedding, we really had to decide on a date that like accommodated people as much as possible, like right before or after Labor Day, which is what we decided, because it meant that people would be taking time off anyway, or that they'd have stat holidays and they'd be getting paid time off. So you really do have to consider like dates, not just the date you want to be your anniversary, but also what works best for people attending, especially if they're putting out a ton of money to come watch you get married. Tally that shit up. Decide if you really want to be friends, and you know, just show her love, try to make it up to her. She'll get over it eventually, or she won't. Subscribe!